It's October, and Hulu has already bounced. Man, this happened fast. Now that it's about football, no one's interested in UNC and Bill Belichick.
UNC is going to be relegated to the CW. This feels like a one and done.
Hulu doesn't even want them on demand. I don't know if we're ever going to see it. They're going to become the first big example of what NIL and the lack of NCAA leadership ultimately means for sports. No one wants to even really discuss anything but Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. Chad, it is time to advance the Bill Belichick story past Jordan Hudson, right? Like, here we are. It's October, and Hulu has already bounced. Peace.
Over.
Peace out on UNC Tar Heel football with Bill Belichick at the helm of the program.
Hulu, who said yes to Chad Powers,
is
saying no to
point.
Bill Belichick in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I want to put that into perspective.
All resources
This is a show
forward.
they said, oh, yeah, let's do a complete show based on a skit by Eli Manning, but no to arguably the best NFL coach of all time. He's out.
Yeah, so they've been dropped in October after Belichick got in front of his team in August, right before the season started, to let them know that the cameras would be rolling.
I know that you guys have heard that there was a lot of interest in doing a, let's call it season-long documentary or season-long show about North Carolina football. And so I'm excited really to share with you that we will be doing that with Everwonder and Hulu that will showcase our football program. Okay, this is about the UNC football program. There's obviously a lot of interest in it.
Well, not anymore.
No. Interest has waned.
Not anymore. Here on October the 8th. No more interest in watching UNC lose. Belichick is frustrated. He's disappointed. And here he is recently after a loss.
Disappointing outcome for us today. I thought we had a good week. I think we were ready to go. And, unfortunately, we gave up some big plays early in the game that really, tilted the game, and we're just never able to recover. So, the big plays in the passing game. I mean, we probably gave up 200 yards of passing on 5 plays. Had interceptions in all 5. So didn't look for the ball. 3 alignment penalties that were, all our fault. So we just got to do a better job of coaching, a better job of playing, and just eliminate the mistakes that are fixable. I mean, there's honestly not that many things that we can't get right.
See, I find it fascinating that now that it's about football, no one's interested in UNC and Bill Belichick. When it's all about the drama and this and that with Belichick and his girlfriend, then there's a buzz. There's a created interest there. Man, this happened fast. This happened very fast in year one. So what happens now? Because there was discussion that his son is the coach in waiting. Belichick's in year one of a 3-year guaranteed deal, an ultimate 5-year contract, and he clearly has a vision for the program. He laid out a 400-page plan, a document. The joke was the manifesto. So what's he saying about that?
It's not about what there could have been or would have been. It was about the opportunity at North Carolina, and I just think this program is at the right spot now to take off. Chancellor Roberts and the Board of Trustees have made a strong commitment toward football at North Carolina, and I'm here with Mike Lombardi as our general manager to do all we can to accelerate that process, and we're gonna get the team make it as competitive as we can as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's taking some time right there, because here's the thing. He mentioned the Chancellor of the University. The deal is, what does Carolina do now? Because if Belichick's out after 1 year, they still owe him well over $20 million, according to reports, and what is ultimately a 5-year deal. They signed up for this 400-page deal that was packed with everything that he wanted and demanded in these negotiations. The Tar Heels hired him because they wanted Belichick to make them a version of what Colorado became over the last 2 years with Deion Sanders. They wanted to be relevant. They wanted to be the the IT program, they wanted buzz, they wanted hype, they wanted eyeballs because they need them to make budget. They're going to become the first big example of what NIL and the lack of NCAA leadership ultimately means for sports offered at schools other than like football, basketball, and the moneymakers. But here's the real discussion. UNC, they wanted their prime time. And now, I mean, Hulu doesn't even want them on demand. They don't even want you to be able to find the show right now. They have the Olympic sports at Carolina. Check out this. This is how many athletic programs are offered at Carolina compared to the rest of the ACC. And it's by far, compared to the rest of the true football contenders, well above the average. They offer 28 programs, Division I programs at Carolina. Compare that to Clemson and Florida State, Miami.
Miami's the least, 17 and a half.
Men's diving
counted as one half.
There's not enough
money for women's diving in Miami.
Enough.
Just the men. Only the men can dive.
So when you're comparing,
very sexist.
What is it like for Carolina to make a budget, especially when there's a divide between athletics and academics there? Well, this is what you're left with. They're going to end up cutting programs. They don't want to, and that's what they were doing when they went all in with Bill Belichick. They wanted to be one of the IT programs in order to keep everything going. And, maybe it's not Bill, but Steve. Is that true, though? Chad, his son, I went under the assumption he was the coach in waiting. Did you think that, too?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ollie Connolly.
Steve Pearl situation.
Exactly, at Auburn. So Ollie Connolly, from the read optional, this is really the only, the closest thing we have to Steve Belichick being the coach in waiting is this report right here. Belichick interviewed with, again, read optional, interviewed with North Carolina last week, and the two sides met for 5 hours on Sunday. That according to Schefter. Belichick agreed to become the next Tar Heels head coach on Tuesday, but only if the university accepted a 400-page organizational Bible that included stipulations on his staff, their salary, and a request for his son Stephen to be named successor. That according to Ollie Connolly of the read optional. A request, so we don't really know. But on the record, kind of, is Bubba Cunningham, who spoke with the OG report. And here is, the OG show. Let me get it right. The OG show. This is their podcast from back in June, where one of the hosts is letting everyone know his conversation with Bubba Cunningham about Steve Belichick being the coach in waiting.
David McKenzie, on our behalf, checked in as to why we haven't received Stephen Belichick's contract. David McKenzie, lawyer, was told that the reason we don't have a copy of Stephen Belichick's contract is because it hasn't been signed by Bubba Cunningham. So I texted Bubba Cunningham today and I said, hey, here was the reason given as to why we don't have Stephen Belichick's contract. He said, I will check on that as to if you're looking for a clause that says that Stephen is a coach in waiting. That is not something that is in his contract. And he added, that is not something we've even discussed.
There you go. So they can be done with all of this mess by just paying out the guaranteed money that's left on the contract of Bill Belichick and whatever else is included in that 400-page organizational Bible. But whatever organizational structure he's building doesn't seem to be something that anyone's going to be jumping on the bandwagon for. I have no idea what they're doing in recruiting right now. It can't be good. Cannot be good. Because no one's wanting to watch them. And again, consider that the flip side of things for primetime, Coach Prime, Deion, they got going fast. Now, they didn't finish well, but they got going and had everyone watching. The nation was watching. Now, no one wants to even really discuss anything but Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
So did he sign the contract? We really don't know anything else. And I was just saying, like, well, they're not going to get rid of Bill Belichick if Steve's the successor. That's not necessarily the case. They could move on and actually bring in someone without the buzz, without the pedigree of Belichick in his past. But they're going to be cutting programs along the way. And that's what they were trying to avoid.
Yeah, and I've said it before. This kind of mirrors Urban Meyer's 1 year, not even one full year in the NFL as a legendary college coach.
Yep.
This is the flip side of that with Bill Belichick, legendary NFL coach, multiple Super Bowl winner. In his 1 year, is it even going to last a full year? I would think that it would. Do I think it's going to last more than 1 year? Right now, I'd say no. This feels like a one and done, whether it's Bill Belichick leaving. I don't think he's going to leave that much money on the table, or it's UNC cutting ties and giving him the buyout money. But I didn't think there was any way that Bill Belichick, in taking this job, could truly affect his overall legacy.
Yeah.
I think the first hit to his legacy was Tom Brady went to Tampa and won a Super Bowl, and he was never able to come close to recreating the magic of Tom Brady and the Patriots without Brady. That was strike number one. This feels like strikes 2 and 3. The Jordan Hudson dilemma and how that's affecting him and his job. They already lost Hard Knocks because of her. That's been reported by multiple outlets. HBO and NFL Films said no because she was making demands to be a producer of the Hard Knocks series. That went away, and now they don't want to deal with her. I don't know why the Hulu thing fell apart, maybe other than lack of interest. But the bottom line is right now, UNC is going to be relegated to the CW very soon.
Yeah, that's where Miami is right now.
Deion Sanders, you mentioned it, Hutton. They didn't win a ton in their first year, but they came out of the gate swinging, and they were a national draw on ESPN late at night. North Carolina is not going to get rerun of Gilmore Girls type ratings on the CW. That's a problem.
Yep.
People are not caring as much anymore, and that's a huge problem, especially for recruiting.
I just noticed there's a backpack back here.
Oh, nice. We'll move that.
There it is. Whatever. Maybe we can give that away to Tim BB coming up. I'm just messing with you, Chad. I was just looking back. I was like, oh, what is this?
This will be a new giveaway on the show.
There it is.
This goes to our ultimate tailgate experience winner. We forgot to give this to them also.
For hiking.
Yeah, on top of the tailgate experience, the tickets to the game, you also win this beautiful blackpack.
Yeah. We have the honor of giving this away. Plus, Timmy B is about to join us. Timmy B, Tim Brando, straight ahead. This episode brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks, simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. And they offer injury reboots. Chad's about to tell you about one. If you have your players leave the game in the first half and they don't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Chad, download the app today. Use code HOTMIC, HOTMIC. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's HOTMIC, $50 in lineup after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Chad Withrow was right. And we're on the board last week.
I went Jackson Dart over 183.5 yards and Jared Goff over 232.5. And I went Juwan Jennings to score a touchdown. But Prize Picks, true to their word. Because on this pick, Juwan Jennings was a scratch, did not play in the game because didn't participate. I'm a winner, baby. I won last week. Got us on the board. Man. Here we go.
You got it done. My picks this week, I'm going Sunday Night Football. Give me Jared Goff. I'm going more than 1.5. It could be at least 2 touchdown passes in this game. They're going to be dealing. They're going to be throwing the football around the yard. They do a great job on play action. Kansas City gives up a ton of yards on play action. Give me Jared Goff more than 1 touchdown in the game passing. Plus Patrick Mahomes, same deal here. He's going to put up a ton of yards. This is a lot of offense here. Give me both quarterbacks to go more on Sunday night in the matchup there.
That worked for me last week with Jared Goff. This week, Hutton, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley to get involved more in the passing game, over 15.5 receiving yards. Okay. And I think Drake May follows up that performance of the win in Buffalo with another big performance against a bad New Orleans Saints team. Give me Drake May over 225.5 passing yards.
Let's win, shall we?
Let's
win. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Timmy B is straight ahead here on Hot Mic.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups. when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
It's Hot Mike Hunter Withrow here at OutKick.com. We always love our discussions, our chats, we're talking ball with Timmy B, Tim Brando. He always comes in pissed off for greatness, too.
Yeah, he does.
Which we love. We love it when Tim Brando joins us on the show. Timmy B, good to see you, sir.
I'm in a happy-go-lucky mood
Oh,
today.
there we go.
What's this-
Sweet.
Yeah. How are you?
Let's see if
Wonderful.
we can get you angry to start the show then, here, Tim. Let's change your mood a little bit. Paul Finebaum. Paul Finebaum does an interview with Clay Travis in Outkick where he's talking about mulling over a decision to run for U.S. Senate in the state of Alabama. And then the report comes out from Clay shortly after that ESPN pulled him for 3 days from his normal ESPN national spots. And that became a big deal. And ESPN, one person was denying it. And then ESPN comes out and says, oh, no. We were trying out other talent, and he's back on tomorrow. Paul Finebaum didn't know he was back on tomorrow, but then he was back on the next day. Here's where I struggle with this, Tim, and tell me what you think. Is this a situation of ESPN and left-leaning politics taking over? Or is this a situation like a lot of employers where the employer got mad that someone went on a rival station, company, whatever, and started to spill some secrets about the company? Because he did complain about not getting to interview Donald Trump and some other things in that interview, and they were doing the old double secret probation move instead of telling the world what they were doing.
Yeah, I tend to believe it's probably a little bit of all of the above, to be frank. I mean, I've been involved in major corporate network media for quite some time. Okay, so that's just my thoughts. I don't have, obviously, the working knowledge that I once did, but I think it's probably pretty simple, don't you, that somebody as powerful as Stephen A. Smith could possibly have said to somebody, whether it's the overlords in Burbank, that's how I refer to them. And let's be real now, because Bristol is Bristol, but a lot of decisions are made in Burbank. Okay, it's the stockholders, it's the people that that carry the most financial weight within the corporation, that are always, generally going to be involved in some measure. And, those different layers of bureaucracy can get involved. Listen, I just know that Stephen A. could have very easily said to anybody at any point in time, hey, I'm considering running for president. You know that in 28. I don't think I've been suspended. As a matter of fact, I think I just hit the lottery with you guys. You might want to rethink this. It could have been as simple as something as that, that worked it out. I do think that when you're in those situations, and I feel to some extent for the public relations guy, Bill Hoffmeyer is a good man. And he was just in a position to basically be the conduit and say what the executives, what the suits, as we like to call them in our business, wanted out there. Okay. And clearly, I don't think there's any question that OutKick and Clay in particular is a rival of ESPN. And they wanted to make sure that they got that word out to sort of not only make everyone aware that, Clay is wrong, but we'll conduct our business the way we want to conduct our business. Right. So I got a kick out of it because, I've known Paul for so long, and I never really talked politics with him because I didn't think I needed to. We never disagreed on politics. We just agreed on we disagreed on football. We disagreed on matters like what's going on with the Southeastern Conference 9 versus 8 game schedule. When he had to soft pedal an interview with Greg Sankey, and I called him out on it. He took umbrage to that, and we had a little back and forth as a result. But we've always
Did you also disagree that Arch Manning is the greatest SEC quarterback since Tim Tebow, as he said at SEC Media Days?
Yeah, a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Yes, but as you know, I'm an advocate for Arch, and I do think we were all wrong in some measure. I didn't say what Paul said, but I certainly thought that he was going to be a difference maker, as I did with Cade Klubnik. Hey, sometimes we're wrong, okay, but there are other times when we're ahead of the curve, like when I dropped Penn State out of my top 15 before they lost at UCLA. Okay, week by week, I look at it that way. But we're in the business of, I think, from time to time, allowing people to understand what's really going on. And when you try to cover it up and then you can't and you're exposed, I don't care who you're working for or what the circumstances, generally speaking, it's going to show up. And in this particular case, I simply said the moment after the story broke, because I didn't know any of the inside inner workings of it, listen, if he runs, he's going to win. And I think he'll be an awfully good senator for the great state of Alabama. I do. But yeah, I think it exposes to some extent, and this is what they don't like, and I get it, they don't like, they being the overlords in Burbank, they don't like the fact that it definitely came out in that conversation. And Paul chose that platform, the platform of Clay Travis, to make people aware of what his considerations were. That should count for something. And it also, I think, means that Paul respects Clay. And so to get it out there makes people aware of this is what his intentions are, and that at times he's been muzzled. I mean, I was banned from the show well over 2 years ago, and I was asked over and over again about it by many, many people. And, callers would bring it up from time to time on his show, and he would have to basically stonewall them because he couldn't really tell them that I had been banned because superiors had editorial control of his show, but they clearly do. Unlike, for instance, Pat McAfee, who is not an employee, but a licensee. There's a difference. There's a big difference with how people get treated, and particularly when you're looking at a circumstance where the people that are securing the airspace basically have their own company, and you have a deal with them as a partnership. That's not the kind of deal Paul Finebaum has. But it is the deal Stephen A. Smith has. And so they treat their talent differently no matter what. Okay. And the level of the degree of how they're going to treat them is based solely on the value that they deem that employee has for them. And listen, if anybody wants to suggest that politics is not part of this, you're in a dream world if you believe that. So I do think my friend Finebaum has handled it with aplomb, absolute aplomb, because every day when he goes out there and does not broach the subject with anyone, then he's letting everyone know, hey, this is their toy department. They're going to run it, and I'm going to talk ball with you guys, and that's that. And I'm sure when callers call in, they're made aware by the call screeners, listen, don't go there, because if you do, we're going to cut you off.
Guys, can you imagine a filibuster on Capitol Hill with Tammy and Legend, and he just starts reading transcripts of all the calls he's had over the years?
Could be in our future. Hey, I don't know what's in James Franklin's future, Tim, but that was one of the more surprising outcomes that I can remember in a game, because the knock on James Franklin is he's 1-18 versus top 10 Big Ten teams. He's 1 whatever, overall against top teams, but he usually beats the bad teams on his schedule, and UCLA had been a bad team all year. And I know you commented also on Rick Neuheisel's reaction to his son Jerry, which I thought was incredible, watching him in that moment. Yeah. What did you make of what was a wild Saturday in that game, and what it might say about James Franklin and Penn State moving forward?
Well, I think it was only a matter of time before the emotions of a really difficult loss would carry over into a upset for Penn State that he's been able to dodge for all these years. You're right. He's done on whole a really good job. I like James Franklin. I always have. And I think he is, people don't like his approach, the way he handles media from time to time, but you know what? You guys saw him a lot in Nashville with Vanderbilt. He's really no different at Penn State than he was at Vanderbilt, but he is now at a place where every move is in a fishbowl. And at Vanderbilt, that was not the case. So he could get away with a lot of things that now he really can't, because Penn State is one of the real blue bloods of college football. I think it says more about, what's great about the game, that UCLA could manifest this with Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel, at the command post calling those plays. And Penn State came in like a lot of college football teams. Listen, they're paid. We know they're professional athletes now, okay? And I don't want to hear any more about having to fly out from here to there. Listen, the next time I hear
Yeah.
a Big Ten coach say that, I'm going to call BS on it, because enough already. Okay. Your school made the choice. You made the choice. Everybody's making more money as a result. I don't want to hear about cross-country travel from anybody again. But the cross-country travel, coupled with the emotional fallout from a loss in a whiteout game, that in my estimation is really more on Drew Aller's shoulders rather than the head coach. Listen, when you've got a veteran quarterback that makes a throw like that on first down in overtime, and you know if you can get the 2-point conversion after a touchdown, you win, and you're at home,
Yep.
that's on Aller, in my view. I mean, it is. You check into a play, you throw a 5-yard out into triple coverage. I mean, what the hell are you thinking? And that's one of the reasons why I didn't like Penn State this year, even though they were picked by many to be the Big Ten champions and maybe make it to the CFP and win the whole thing. I didn't like them because I just don't think Aller is a big-time quarterback. You don't turn down the Manning Passing Academy for 2 consecutive years if you really want to get better. Every player I've ever talked to that went to that academy not only enjoyed it, felt they learned from it, and wanted to get better. And as you guys recall, when we were talking back in the summer, I told you about that, and I didn't like Penn State from the jump.
And he threw that pick in the semis that set up the Notre Dame
Yep.
winning field goal, too.
Yep.
Timmy B with us. Arkansas, what, from your perspective, just knowing that Bobby Petrino's back at the helm there for the interim head coaching position, and I'm curious what you think he can do with this group moving forward, the position he is in, and maybe describe the type of coach that Arkansas needs at the helm.
He's got the swagger, and now he's got the power. And with both and a quarterback that he believes in, listen, they laid an egg against Notre Dame. I mean, they absolutely laid an egg, but are they that bad when compared to Notre Dame? I don't think so. And I think to some extent, getting the ball vertically downfield in the passing game, okay, throwing it, in the seams, downfield, that's what Petrino wants to do. They weren't doing much of that, okay? Bobby now is going to be able to be Bobby when calling plays. When you got an old line coach as your head coach, sometimes that's what you see, okay? It's like the difference in having David, I'll put it in Tennessee vernacular. It'd be like the difference in having Philip Fulmer as your head coach or David Cutcliffe, okay? Now, a lot of people wanted Cut for a long, long time, and they never got him. But you saw what Cutcliffe could do as a head coach when he went to Ole Miss and he had Eli. They got the ball downfield. Well, that's what Petrino's going to do. Now, the comparisons between David as a person versus Petrino a little different. But from a coaching standpoint, I think he can light them up and not necessarily win out. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
But win some important games, and games that their AD can say, listen, I think we might have our guy now. All right, let's just do. And some of those people that, when it all happened years ago, especially the donors, especially those that have been, and the AD got called out a little bit after his visit to David Basil's Little Rock Touchdown Club. But the truth is, a lot of the money people have not forked over the cash since Petrino left because they've seen what's happened. Bobby had that team. Let's not forget, when LSU and Alabama were playing for the national title in 2011, Arkansas was also a top 10 team at that time. Remember that?
They were in the Sugar Bowl.
Arkansas was a top 10 team under Bobby Petrino. So does he have a chance to get back to the promised land? And I'm sure at this stage of Bobby's career, he's thinking, I want one last soiree, and this is my chance. I think it could happen. I think Bobby might be the guy if he can just show some improvement and get maybe a win or two that people don't anticipate. And Arkansas is capable of doing that. Listen, if UCLA can do what they did to Penn State, don't tell me that Arkansas couldn't pull it off. We're living in a time now of such parity. And we're looking at 25 to 30 teams now that have legitimate chances of making the playoff. And of those 25 to 30, I think about half those probably believe and probably could win the national championship. That's the world we're in today.
Tim, Associate Commissioner Mark Womack passed away of the SEC. I believe he was in his 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
Just turned 70.
Okay. You would have been around him
a lot,
quite often.
Yeah.
What was he like, and what did he mean to you?
Well, for those of us that cut our teeth in the Southeastern Conference, covering them. And I did so regionally, as you know, starting up in Baton Rouge and working for Jefferson Pilot and doing all those basketball tournaments and football games in the early window, and then later at CBS, but also working at ESPN. I'll never forget when I was doing game day in the 80s and some things popped up from time to time. Mark was the guy that Roy Kramer said, listen, I need you to get in touch and work this out. I need you to make contact with Brando. He can't be questioning the integrity of our officials. and so Mark would make that phone call. He did that for everybody. He did it for Mike Slive. He did it for Kramer. And he was doing it also for Greg Sankey. Mark Womack was the guy that did all the grunt work. It was that thankless job that people don't necessarily think about in the business of college athletics. When schedules had to be reworked because of the additions of teams, going all the way back to 92, it was Womack. When they have to go from 8 to 9 games, who's putting all that together to show people at the and ADs when they're meeting down in Destin? It's Mark Womack that does that work. He was the grunt of the executive core of the Southeastern Conference for a long time. I'll never forget when Mike Slive was the chairman of the NCAA basketball tournament selection committee in 2008. That was the weekend of the Miracle 3 between Alabama and Mississippi State in the quarterfinals at the Georgia Dome when the tornado came through. They made a documentary about it, you might recall. They had to find a way to finish that tournament before Selection Sunday. Otherwise, the SEC would be in peril and likely lose its automatic bid. It was Mark Womack that took the lead on that, okay? And whether it's guys like him or Herb Vincent, who's in a similar position as an associate commissioner working with Greg Sankey, these guys are vital. And one of the reasons the SEC got to the lofty position that it's in is not just about the commissioner himself. It's also about the people that make up his team, his core of management. And since 1978, when he graduated from Alabama, the only job he ever had was in that office. And a lot of times he would hear from fans. You can imagine when LSU fans were upset about the rotation in the schedule versus Alabama, it'd be pointed out by somebody, who was in charge of that? That guy's an Alabama guy. He heard it from everywhere, okay? And he never complained. He never complained. And as I said, there were different times in my career when I know I rubbed the commissioners the wrong way, but it was Mark that would always not only make the call for them to me, but assure them that, Tim's criticism comes from a good place. Tim loves his job and he loves the SEC. He did that not just for me, but for countless other broadcasters that from time to time were going to say some things that might not necessarily fall the right way in the minds of the commissioner's office.
Everyone very understanding of that, except for Florida fans, too.
Yeah, that's right. But I 70's way too young in this day and time. I'll turn 70 in February. Paul Finebaum's already 70. Yeah. We grew up together, with Mark. Sure. And the idea of putting together the SEC entertainment that was on hand and the Legends deal that was always on hand at the SEC championship. These were all breakthrough ideas. Other conferences didn't do that kind of thing. Mark helped facilitate all of that. And he's going to be missed. I mean, missed tremendously. And my understanding is he had a very, very unique and rare disease that comes after your body and debilitates it very quickly. So this was sudden, very sudden for a lot of people. It was for me when I first heard of it. And I called Herb Vincent last night, talked to him about it. And, I'm devastated. I am. And I know there are a lot of other people in media, particularly in media, whether you're a writer, broadcaster, those of us that go back that far with him. And my first year of covering LSU football in Baton Rouge was 1979, the year after my wife and I married. And I got to know him, from the very beginning. And he never changed. He never wavered. Never got too big to take my call. Okay. He and guys like Larry Templeton, the old athletic director at Mississippi State, those guys worked hand in glove to put schedules together and in many cases take the heat. Mike Slive put a lot on Mark Womack's plate and he always handled it and came up asking for more.
Wonderful thoughts there on the life and friend of Timmy B there, Mark Womack. Hey, thank you for the time today, Tim. Always great to catch up with you. Love the conversation as usual, and let's do this again soon, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. And frankly, we got some good Friday night games coming up in the future, Devin and I, and we'll be at K-State this week on Fox for TCU, and that league that's so topsy-turvy. So I'll be here for you whenever you call.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait to get you back on. Thanks, Tim.
You got it. Bye-bye.
There's the man, Timmy B. Love having
He's awesome.
Love having him on. Yeah, great guy. Always great perspective. Primary complaint straight ahead. Plus, what's Stanford up to? They have a big donation that's headed their way. That's a game changer for the football program. Did I see that headline right, Chad? We got to discuss that next.
Football's finally back, so's the hard-hitting gridiron action on PrizePicks. Download PrizePicks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hot Mike Headed with Row here at OutKick, and we're excited to announce the return of the most patriotic award show on TV, the Fox Nation Patriot Awards. Back and better than ever, hosted by our very own Sean Hannity. Thursday, November 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern, live from the Telus Center in New York. And tickets are on sale right now. You go to foxnation.com/Patriot Awards. That's foxnation.com/Patriot Awards. We had a record-setting show last year. This year, even bigger. Surprise guest, amazing new awards, and even a special honor for the life and legacy of our friend Charlie Kirk. You will not want to miss it. Get tickets now, foxnation.com/Patriot Awards, and we hope to see you there. We're glad to see you here at OutKick for Hot Mike, and each Wednesday at this time, it's time for Primary Complaint.
It's time to air our top grievance of the week.
You can complain all you want.
My job is so unfulfilling. Don't run away from your feelings.
It's time for Hot Mike's Primary Complaint.
Guys, my primary complaint this week, I realize you have to stock shelves at a grocery store, okay? That takes a physical human being to do that, and I appreciate that.
Thank God.
What I don't understand is I find it incompetent whenever you're doing this in the peak hours of when everyone's going to be at said grocery store. This is Publix. This is yesterday. At 5:30 in the evening, as everyone's getting off work, they're stocking shelves and they're just leaving the shit in the middle of the aisles. I don't understand why. Like what? The shelves are packed. That's why that hasn't been unloaded. Get it out of my way so I can actually, get what I came to grab from the shelf. That's my primary complaint.
Timing's a real problem, real issue there. I can see that definitely being a problem. My problem this week and my primary complaint is with Facebook. I remember, I'm old enough to remember a time where you went to Facebook and you scrolled up and what you saw was people you were friends with and what they had posted in order, chronologically. Oh, Susan posted this. Oh, Dylan posted that. Oh, Brooke went on a vacation and posted this. And Adam went to this ball game and had this photo. And it was lovely. You'd go through and see what people were up to. And it would be interspersed with a few ads here or there, whatever it may be. But very easy to navigate. And it was only your friends you were seeing. I'm now fed via my algorithm all these weird, crazy graphics all the time that I have no clue where they come from. Here's the latest one that took a real turn when I started looking at it, okay? So you see some celebrity interesting facts here, right? Jeremy Renner, he worked as a makeup artist. Oh, that's cute. I did laugh out loud at Tom Cruise's fact is he divorced all three of his wives when they were 33 years old, mixed with Leonardo DiCaprio, who's never dated a woman over 25. And then you get down to the bottom, and Keanu Reeves really takes a dark turn talking about his wife and all of his family dying.
Wow.
And him having to live alone, essentially. And I'm thinking, boy, this was a nice, sweet, cute, celeb, special meaning of everything. And it gets to Keanu Reeves, and that's the fact.
They treated Michael Jackson as alive?
They really drug Keanu Reeves through the muck for no reason at all. The Tom Cruise and Leo facts, well, that's at least funny.
Yeah.
And then the bottom, Keanu Reeves lost his wife, his siblings, and everyone else. Come on. If you're going to give me stuff I didn't ask for, at least don't make it this
The
dark.
exploratory world. Can't even spell Scarlett Johansson's last name on that.
Dark turn with these celebrity facts.
Yeah. We remember Facebook when it was thefacebook.com.
Yes, when Zuckerberg intended.
Yeah.
That's the Facebook we remember.
Then parents joined.
Yes.
Adam, what's up?
That Michael Jackson fact is that he attempted to purchase Marvel Comics in the 90s, not to control the company, but because he wanted to play Spider-Man on screen. So can you imagine Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy with Michael Jackson?
Why can we not have that in our life?
As Spider-Man.
Was it Topher?
Why can we not have that?
Was it not Topher Grace, but Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
Wasn't he buddies with Michael Jackson?
I'm sure he was.
So like he was.
Poor bastard.
Did he help get Tobey Maguire the Spider-Man gig?
I think Leo was also in consideration for Spider-Man there. So that's one of those.
Really? Leo's a big anti-superhero movie guy. He tells all young actors, don't do a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hudson, your primary complaint fits in the category of like people and places making it harder for me to give them my money. Like I'm attempting to give you money. Like don't make it hard on me. But guys, my primary complaint happened this morning. Chad, we were talking the other day when we were driving in and there was some rain that automatically means the commute time is going to take longer. Why does that also happen when there's clouds? There's no weather. It's just darker. Everybody drive. Like it took me an extra 15 minutes to get in today just because it wasn't as bright in the morning as it normally is. Like stop looking up and drive, people. It's ridiculous. Short and sweet. That's all I've got.
Clouds. What's up, Sean?
We don't know what to do with overcast skies.
We're not here.
I think that we need to abandon gimmicks when it gets to October in football, specifically the Monday Night Football doubleheaders, which we're getting in Week 6 in October.
Getting like more of
Buffalo,
those too.
Buffalo versus Atlanta. I'm lashing out because the Bills are going to beat Atlanta by 40, and that's just going to ruin my week. But also, you have the Bears and the Commanders an hour later. Why are we stacking two good games next to each other on Monday night? All four teams here are supposedly supposed to be exciting this season. Why are we gimmicking this? It could be Sunday Night Football, put it in the 4 p.m. slate anywhere but a clogged up Monday night.
I'm with you, dude.
It makes no sense to me doing this now. You want to kick off the season with 2 games? Fine.
Yes.
Now we're in the thick of it. Can't do that.
They tested this for a couple of seasons where they did the legitimate doubleheader, East Coast, West Coast, and then they stagger it to where one game's at halftime when the other one's kicking off. That, in theory, and it worked. I don't know why it worked. But they pulled the ratings that they wanted. I don't know why. They added more. They added more doubleheaders to this. I'm dumbfounded by it.
I want Monday Night Football to mean something. And remember, the big problem was it stopped meaning something because Sunday Night Football took all the glory and the best games.
And then ESPN invested more.
ESPN didn't get good games. Then they invest more money. Now it means more again because Monday Night Football is getting some better matchups.
I think ESPN has about 28 games this year.
Yeah, I don't need 2 of them.
Well, I'm saying they have 10 more than their regular season weekly game, and that's part of it. I don't know.
Just to follow up on Sean's complaint too.
Yeah, it's a legitimate.
I also am less and less interested in any European game at all in terms of television viewing on Sunday morning.
Yeah,
I forget about all of these games until I happen to turn on the TV before going to church, and I'm like, oh, the Vikings and the Browns are playing, and it's in the third quarter. Who knew?
Not the one this week.
Who knew?
Yeah,
I had no clue.
Yeah, we're gonna get more. Yeah,
now I know.
Now we're gonna have a doubleheader Monday night, in Australia.
Yeah,
next time
probably.
Well done, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, great work.
Yep.
I agree with everyone's complaints.
I mentioned Stanford.
I've got no complaint with any complaint today.
I mentioned Stanford. Chad said, "Hey, let's hold that for tomorrow because you've got big thoughts on a $50 million donation."
Stanford back.
Stanford back.
That's the lower third for tomorrow.
Andrew Luck going to bring it back?
Stanford back? Question mark.
They're back, baby.
They may be
At least
back.
they're claiming that. That's tomorrow. Hope you'll join us. Armando Salguero does the same. He joins us tomorrow, too. 11 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. Hot Mic Cutting with Rome right here at OutKick.com. See you then.